during that time, I got introduced to New Age. I was spending a lot of time at home, and I was scrolling on TikTok, and I found about New Age and tarot and spirituality, and something like sparked in me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if this is the truth? Like, what if everything that I've been told was a lie? And I kind of like resonated a lot with astrology. I was finding a sense, and I was like, oh, well, this is why all this has happened to me, because my birth chart says this, and this is why we're not compatible. And I even learned about manifestation, and I like tried to manifest my first love back. I was like, he's going to come back to me. We're going to make things work. And he didn't. So I kind of like put it on a back burner, and got introduced to a drug dealer from a former friend. He is a quadriplegic, and he had a rough childhood, but he would give me great deals on weed, and I would spend time with him, and I would go and smoke at his house. And I remember like stepping in. This was like nothing that I was ever exposed to. It was like a full-blown trap house, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what? Well, I would spend a lot of time with him, and we ended up kind of developing a friendship outside of just smoking weed. I got a friendship with him, and I got to learn about him. And my mom found out that I was smoking, and she would tell me not to hang out with him. And basically everything that was told to me, I would do the complete opposite. Somebody told me no, I would say yes. Out of nowhere, my first love came back into my life, and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe manifestation is true. It just took some time. And I decided to cut off my friendship with the drug dealer, and I spent some time back with my first love, but I was just not myself anymore. I had changed. I graduated from high school, and I was in college now, and everything was online. And I was at my first love's house, and I asked to borrow his computer to be online for my class, and I decided to snoop around, and I found something that kind of hurt my feelings, but I didn't ask of any context. I just assumed the worst, and I ran with it. And that same day, my ex-drug dealer kept calling me, and I hadn't talked to him in weeks. So I wouldn't answer because I was going through a lot emotionally. And I finally decided to pick up the phone, and he told me that his 13-year-old brother had just got shot in the head right in front of his face. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I hung up, and I was mad at my first love, and I told him that basically I gave him one last opportunity, and it didn't work, and I'm out. So I immediately went to my drug dealer's house, and it was like an active crime scene, and I was so confused. And I decided that day that, well, maybe this is the universe telling me that I need to pursue this relationship with my drug dealer because he needs me more at this time, and my first love is not valuing me. I was definitely not thinking right. I kind of ghosted my first love, and I never gave him any kind of context. And I started spending a lot of time with my plug, and within 2 months, we started dating. Because he was a quadriplegic due to gun violence, I started taking care of him and bathing him and being his caregiver and getting high at the same time. And during this time of like uncertainty in the pandemic, it all just felt like a blur. And I ended up not listening to all the advice around me. People would tell me not to talk to him, to stay away, and I just felt it as people were trying to keep me in a box. Not even 2 months into dating him, I ended up getting in some kind of legal trouble. I was freshly turned 18, and I was just telling my mom, like, oh, I can do whatever I want. And she and my family just didn't even recognize the person I was before. Like I said, I was a different person in school and academically, and within a few months, I just changed completely. I even remember during this time that I denied God. somebody that I used to know so well. I was at my plug's house, and his mom asked me out of nowhere if I believed in God, and I remember just feeling like a weird presence, and I was like freshly into this new age and all this tarot and finding purpose in these things, that I told her that I believe in a God, but not the God that I grew up
Yeah.
believing in a tainted version. And after that, I felt like weird, like a conviction in my heart, but I didn't understand it.
Mm.
So I never thought of it much, but to this day, like I look back and it still hurts. It still hurts my heart.
That you denied him?
Yeah, I was like, that is so crazy.
Well, it's a part
Well,
of your
anyways,
testimony now, you know?
it is. It is.
What was the legal trouble that you got in drug related because of this boyfriend?
Yeah, it was drug related. Um, I ended up getting it dropped because um, I got an expungement, and it really had nothing to do with me. I was just associated with the wrong people at the wrong time. But after we got in trouble, like I said, I wasn't thinking. So I asked him, I was like, well, what if we get married and um, try to like approach this a different way? Like, if we get married, you won't testify against me, and like all these things. So 2 days after our legal trouble, I got married to my
Oh
drug dealer.
my gosh.
And this all happened within like 2 months of knowing him. And my mom was just like, what is going on? My family was so disappointed in me. My father even spoke to me and told me that um, he didn't want anything to do with me because I'm not the girl that I used to be.
Oh, man.
And they all blamed it on weed and stuff. And I was like, oh, it's not that. But the day that my mom found out that I got married, I thought that I was going to be able to get married and still live at my mom's house and, just fix this hiccup and then go on with my life. But she told me if I want to act like an adult, then I need to leave the house.
Mm,
And I got kicked out. And so basically, I had to move in with my drug dealer that I had not known for a long time into a completely different environment. My family wasn't there, so I was even more depressed. And I knew that by marrying him, my options with my first love were completely out of the picture. So
yes.
I just felt isolated, and his family did not like me at all. Um, and they didn't ever help me when it came to taking care of him. And it finally got to a point where I realized, like, this is what my life is going to be.